guys, how's it going? Today is fertilizing day. You can see in the back of the gator here, we've got a bunch of bags of fertilizer. I thought I'd run through the ones we use the most and how we use them. And it's quite perfect because tomorrow we are expecting rain. We do try to time out our fertilizer applications with a rainy day so that especially when you are applying fertilizer to a lot of things, which we are going to be doing today, three of us are going to be working on it, Paul, Aaron, and myself. So it's nice to not have to take a hose out everywhere because our irrigation system is not on yet. So tomorrow we have rain, it'll help water or push it into the soil. So it works out great. Okay, so here's what we've got. Benjamin's gonna show it off. We've got plant tone right here. We use that on a lot of perennials and things like that. We've got berry tone, which I'll be using on our blueberries today. We've already applied it, and our strawberries today. We've already applied it to our raspberries, grapes, and blackberries. We've got holly tone, which we use on younger evergreens, hydrangeas, anything else?
Anything acid loving, like hollies.
Yeah, if you have hollies, azaleas, we can't grow those here. All the things on the front of this bag. Rhodies, right? Are those rhodies? Azaleas and holly. Anyway, they're too acid loving for our soil. We've got garden tone right here, which I'm going to be applying to our garlic today. Rose tone, that's kind of obvious. You can use this on your hydrangeas as well. Anything blooming, lilacs, forsythia, weigelas, spirea, all of those things. Flower tone is really good one for perennials, anything flowering. And then we've got tree tone. I'm going to be doing our fruit trees today. And any younger trees.
Yeah.
The things we do not fertilize are anything mature. Any large mature shrub or tree, we don't typically fertilize those. They typically don't need it. We also don't fertilize Russian sage, sedum, like the skullcap. We have a perennial called skullcap. We don't fertilize anything like that, and I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but there are some things that actually do not want fertilizer and they will not thank you for it. Usually what they'll do is push growth and then flop over. Now the back of the bags will tell you how much to give each thing. We just eyeball it. This is an organic slow release feed. It's almost, I mean, I don't think it's impossible to overdo it, but it's kind of impossible to overdo it. So we just scatter fertilizer around the drip line of the plant, which the drip line, it shows a picture on the back of a lot of these bags. Yeah, you can see a tiny little picture back here. Maybe we can throw a bigger picture up on the screen. But the drip line of the plant is not directly at the roots. And if that's where you have to put the fertilizer, that's fine. Like if you have landscape fabric around, it's better to get it under that landscape fabric if you can. But if not, like in our flower beds, we don't have landscape fabric. So like for example, this beautiful forsythia, we're not gonna put fertilizer right in there at the root ball. The drip line is around the perimeter of the plant where like the outer branches or leaves come to, and that's where usually the most active roots are that will take up the most nutrients. Also on the bag it'll tell you to feed monthly, and that is just not a reality for us with the size of our space, and I don't think it's a reality for most people to get out there once a month. Maybe it is, but for us, getting out at least once in the spring and then once maybe like end of May, beginning of June, if we could remember just those two, the plants benefit so much from that. Also, I know that not everybody is going to go out and have the specific fertilizer for every specific plant you have. If you do, awesome. They are specially formulated, but they're fairly close in their makeup. If you have, let's say, a bag of garden tone and that's all you've got, just use that. It'll be totally fine. Any other tidbits?
You know, if I was going to only get one, I'd probably get holly tone.
You think so? Well, for us, for sure.
Yeah. Like if I was going to put one bag on the entire garden, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah. One other thing Aaron just reminded me of, our animals. We have heard of some people's dogs in particular liking the smell of these fertilizers, and they will come out and try to dig where they smell it. So if you don't have rain on the forecast, definitely get out there with the hose and water it in. Work it in with your gloves or work it in with a rake and try to push it down into the soil a little bit more. That's what we advise. We don't have a dog, so that's not a problem for us. Our cats don't seem to dig at it like dogs do. I haven't heard of cats digging at it.
No, I don't think they
It's
like
mostly
it.
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, keep that in mind. So I think what we're gonna do is divide and conquer.
Yeah.
So I'll bring you along for potted evergreens, blueberries, garlic, strawberries, and what was the other thing I was gonna do? Oh, fruit trees. And then Paul and Aaron will be handling pretty much everything else. they'll probably beat me too. All right, let's get after it. Okay, we have a bunch to fertilize in this area, but before I get into that, I did want to mention that when Paul and Aaron are running around fertilizing today, they're going to be handling all the arborvitaes and boxwoods, and they do recommend that you use plant tone on those two types of evergreens as opposed to holly tone, which is what we use on all of the rest of our evergreens. So I just wanted to mention that because in our area too, we've got a couple of boxwoods in pots in front of the flower shed there. So I'll be using plant tone on those. We've also got our 4 tubs of blueberries out here, which I was thinking of abandoning this project because they just have been not super productive. I think they're in too exposed of a spot for our area, but they're all budded up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fertilize them. We've also got 9 fruit trees in the orchard. We've got the 2 boxwoods in front of the flower shed, 2 honeyberries in pots right there, and our row of strawberries. For our blueberries, I think we're going to be using holly tone as opposed to the berry tone, which is what we'll use on our strawberries. But blueberries like more acidic soil, and we are very high pH here, so I think this will be helpful. We're also going to be using this one on our fruit trees right here, and then plant tone for our boxwood and our honeyberries that are both in containers up there. And I think that's it for this area out here. So we'll get this handled, and then we're going to move toward the vegetable garden. All right, we are in the raised bed vegetable garden now. I just fertilized the 4 boxwoods that are in pots. I think you can see them. There's 2 on the other side. I got those fertilized with plant tone. Now we have 4 raised beds that are full of garlic we planted last fall, and I did put biotone starter fertilizer in the ground when I planted them, but then we like to come along and side dress with garden tone right now, and then that one is a crop that I would fertilize once a month if I could. I need to get it in my calendar and set a reminder for myself, because alliums, which garlic is a part of the allium family, they're really heavy feeders, and you'll get bigger, more beautiful heads of garlic if they have a little bit more food to feed on. And we also have a pot of chives to feed as well. Here's our pot of chives. They've been in this pot for about 5 years, and I'm pretty sure that they're doing as well as they are because they do get some food, because that's a very limited reservoir that they have to draw anything from. So they are pretty much relying on us for feed. And then here is a 3x4 bed of garlic. We've got 2 of our L-shaped beds full. They look beautiful. Beautiful stand this year, even though the cats like to lay in these beds. And we've got this bed right here. Now there are blackberries in pots. I've already fertilized those when I fertilized the blackberries out in the south garden. Those got berry tone just a few weeks ago. All right, to side dress, I just take a handful and you just, along the side of the row, give them some feed. Work it in, and the rain will do the rest of our job tomorrow. I'm gonna do the same thing on the remaining 3 beds. Now there are some other pots. We're gonna head to the front of the greenhouse and feed the boxwood pots right there. But you might notice that we've got some arborvitaes in the pots in front of the barn. We also have some spruce trees in pots that are around the Hartley. I am not going to fertilize those today because I plan on planting all of those out in the dirtlands and in the south garden here pretty soon. And I will do biotone starter fertilizer at that point. So it's really not worth it to feed them today. Hey, you're right on my cabbage. Get! Jeez Louise. Douglas. Man, if these plants survive, I will be shocked. Shocked. Now he's gonna go lay in the cilantro bed. Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay, here we go. Okay, the last thing that I have on my list, and I'm gonna walk back around the garden just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I want to get all of the Japanese maples that we have in pots fertilized, and we currently have 2 sitting behind our greenhouse. There they are. I need to lift this one and repot it. Look at that. Oh, both of them. They both could use a repot. But because that project is probably not going to happen for a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and give them some holly tone. And then of course we're skipping the espalier because we are moving that. It's supposed to be moved today. We'll see. We got our holly tone in containers. I just do around the perimeter and work it in. A little bit more. I do have a few more containers up close to the house, but the painters are still working right there, and I don't really want to use any fertilizer around them. So I will wait for those, but it's just a repeat of what we've already worked on today. There's a boxwood up there, a couple boxwoods, and maybe 1 or 2 Japanese maples. So we will get those fertilized as soon as we get the pots moved back and in place, but I'm really happy to get all of this stuff all fed and ready to go for the season. And Paul and Aaron are both out there working hard to get everything else done. So that's probably what we're gonna leave you with today. I will just give you a look at all the hard work they're putting in. Anyway, if you have any questions about any of the fertilizers or how we apply or anything like that, leave them down below and we will try to get them answered in the recap for you. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.